Just stay tuned for station identification for the United States of America from MSNBC News. Just because you like Skip, as he is known by some of us, his friends, I mean Henry Louis Gates Jr., we at MSNBC and all its affiliates, despite pity for this man, we would like to remind you that you don't like these type of niggers. And we have set a new bar for who in the Negro Kingdom can be arrested. Everyone Henry Louis Gates' professional and educational level and below, plus those sharing his gender and race, can be expected to be arrested, shot, assaulted at any white male police officer's discretion. These are precious moments, people. Gates is the same as a thug. He increases white fear. He will stab your white babies. Remember, you don't like these type of black men. Watch this clip. Let's take a closer look.
Back now with one of the lingering questions about the events of this past week. Even after the first African-American president put himself right in the middle of a controversy involving race, has anything really changed? Will this be, as the president put it, a teachable moment on race relations? Here's NBC's Mara Schiavocampo.
It was the spark that triggered a firestorm.
Do you think it's fair that there has been this rush to judgment in the public realm?
I don't think it's a rush to judgment.
But for all the debate this week, one fact is undisputed.
These are issues that are still very sensitive here in America.
Sensitive, but not necessarily unwelcome.
My hope is that as a consequence of this event, this ends up being what's called a teachable moment.
Tom Joyner hosts one of the country's most popular radio shows.
No one wants to talk about race in America.
For him, it doesn't matter what people are saying about Gates or Crowley, as long as they're talking about the issue of race relations.
Thank goodness that we can keep the discussion on a national level, because that's the only way to solve a problem. Is you have to first talk about it.
And all around the country, they are.
In terms of race and fairness and equality in the country, I think it's an important discussion to have.
Anything that goes on is discussed in a barbershop.
Well, the country can only learn if they're willing to learn, if they're willing to admit that there's a problem and change it.
Now, if we do something about it, then that's a good thing. But right now, it's just conversation.
A conversation had many times before, so some worry this teachable moment will pass us by.
I just think that these issues are so complicated and messy and uncomfortable that we will move on because it's just easier that way. Yes, we're in the middle of the flare-up, and yes, we're in the middle of talking about these things, but unfortunately, because there's no trust as a nation, yes, we will move on to talk about something else until the next flare-up happens.
Still others hope we'll choose the harder path.
We need to have this conversation to keep understanding each other.
Harder, but ultimately better for the nation. Mara Schiavocampo, NBC News, New York.
What does Jeremiah Wright and O.J. Simpson have in common with Gates? Surely we could have thought of other guys that resembled his case, like Sean Bell of New York, or the football player Ryan Moats of the Houston Texans and his mother-in-law. Nope, this was a dog whistle, not made for African-American ears. This has been a We Hate Your Black Ass segment reminder from MSNBC. Thank you, and good night.